So everybody, we are better than ever, and welcome back to Retro Reel with me, your host Steven, Joel, and Cash is over there somewhere. So on Retro Reel, as with every episode, we watch cartoons from the 90s, early 2000s, whatever it may be. We rate it 1 to 10 and ask ourselves, does it hold up?
Well, we could give it a 0, but hopefully we never get to that point.
No, but we're getting a little closer. Today we watched Jimmy Neutron.
I would have loved to say I was pleasantly surprised, but I don't think I was.
You were a little more receptive to it than I was.
The second episode, yeah.
Yeah. So, my episode was called The Grumpy Young Men. So, in this one, he goes to get a video game with Carl and Sheen, and it's a adult-only game. You need to be 18 to buy it.
Yeah.
And in typical Jimmy Neutron fashion, comes up with a plan. He builds up a kind of device to increase their metabolism to make them older.
Which, I guess that works.
They only try to make them 18, but ended up making them like 75. And so they end up coming out as like old men, or they woke up as old men the next day, and it was kind of funny. I think as the episode went on, I laughed a little more and more. And typical like old man jokes. Oh, I can't hear. Oh, I can't see. Like, oh, that's prune whip. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of silly. At first glance, though, like the animation wasn't terrible. It is obviously the first like CGI show we're watching on the series, so I was kind of nervous how that alone would hold up.
Yeah,
and it wasn't terrible. I think it definitely dates it, but I feel like at the time it probably looked amazing.
I remember it looking good when we were younger. I mean, the show in general, just the 3D rendering of it, it's just, as much as it was still somewhat appealing to look at,
yeah,
it just didn't hold up to today's animation.
No, it was never going to.
No, of course not. But like, we have other shows that are on the same era, but because they didn't use the 3D stuff, they had some type of staying power.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Neutron just didn't have that, je ne sais quoi, we'll call it that.
No, it definitely didn't. No, I agree. Like, it's the animation dates it a lot, because you look back. So for example, you can look back at the first Toy Story, and that looks rough. But at the time,
that character was in this one of those Toy Story characters in this fucking show.
The Toy Store owner from Toy Story 2 was 100% in the show as the
was it Barn Al or something?
the candy Barn. That's right. Yeah, it was Barn Al, Al's Toy Barn.
Al's Toy Barn
from Toy Story 2, and over here he's the bartender at the candy bar.
Yeah, in the second episode. So I guess we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. So let's get to this first episode, which is not the greatest.
It was not the greatest. Like it was some couple of jokes here and there, just them just being old, and then again, you also saw this with the second episode too. There's like some weird logic behind it. Where again, I don't know if the science makes sense. Where
there's no way the science makes sense.
He used a tin can as a time break, and that's what messed up his experiment. But then it also got kind of dark, where it's like, we only have till 6 p.m. and then we're gonna turn to dust.
6:03 to be exact.
Yeah, like I was just like, okay, like, the stakes are a little high on this one. Like, not what I expected.
Yeah, but the funny thing is they show them being like aggressively slow the whole episode, and then all of a sudden they somehow make it to the front of Jimmy's steps with 2 minutes left. It's 6:01.
Yes.
He happens to have a titanium trophy that they need to, get the time thing to work. I don't even know what they call the machine.
I don't remember what they called the machine, but they needed titanium. The whole point of the episode is that they needed titanium to use as a time break. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know if this makes sense scientifically.
There's no way this makes sense.
But then, like, again, the story...
Avengers proved this wrong.
Yeah, then the story just kind of goes on, and then it gets kind of silly where Carl's old as hell, and they're at the buffet, and he wins a dance-off, so he wins a titanium trophy. I'm like, what is...
First off, no one's giving like titanium trophies.
No. Not at all. But it's like, just so happened to be what he needed, and they're like, okay, this saves the day. And then just didn't. I'm watching. I'm just like, I don't know, man. A lot of the jokes too, I feel like just didn't quite hit.
They didn't age well.
No, I felt like obviously it's a kid show, no doubt about it. This is also one of the later shows we've done. Like this episode in particular, or at least this series in particular, started in 2002. So this was a lot later compared to some of the stuff we watched on this channel already. But I know it's geared towards kids, but I feel like a lot of jokes would only hit if you are an actual child.
Yeah.
Like, they did not hold up well at all. Also, you gotta mention the intro song.
Oh, it's atrocious.
I see. When we decided to watch this for today's episode, I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I don't remember what the intro was at all. For good reason, because it's just not memorable. It's one of those cheesy songs, like, oh, this is the theme song. And I'm just like,
got a blast.
Yeah. They're showing random clips of the characters. I'm just like, no, it wasn't too much for me.
Overall, the show, especially the first episode, was very lackluster.
Yes.
I mean, we had just a very run-of-the-mill plot. Yeah. We had a very run-of-the-mill, like, ending. Like, okay, clearly that this was going to happen kind of thing. Overall, it just didn't really do it for us. No. And the second episode, which was slightly better, which the episode that I picked was the N-Men, which is, it's retroactively looks at this. I'm looking right at the camera. The N-Man is racist. That name is racist. And the only black person in the episode is invisible. So, so whoever made Jimmy Neutron, get your shit together. Anyway.
N is for Neutron.
N is for Neutron.
But calling it the N-Man is crazy.
It's wild. But long story short, the gang, they go all the way to Mercury to play mini golf. And on the way back, they go through this, I don't remember what it was called.
It was like a radiation field.
Radiation belt that they say they called something. And it's basically the plot to Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it is.
They come back down, and then they all like happen to have superpowers. They don't realize that Jimmy has any superpowers yet because he's orange with green hair. Yeah. You have Carl, which is like has the super burp. You have Sheen that has super speed. You have Libby. Libby's invisible. Yep. Cindy has super strength, ends up being like Superman.
Yeah, she can fly. She has like supervision, and also very like typical tropey powers as well. Like
That's run of the mill stuff.
Yeah, strength, speed, the visibility, like stuff you would expect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then you would think like Jimmy's gonna get like super like intelligence or something like that, something along the lines of like Professor X.
He already is like a genius. Like,
but you thought maybe he would got something like telekinesis kind of power.
Yeah.
But they go the other route where it makes equally sense. Like they make him like Bruce Banner, where he's kind of like the Hulk. Yeah. And they obviously make him super strong and super stupid.
We don't find that out till later, because before that, they're practicing their abilities to save people around the town, end up doing more harm than good.
They murder mad people.
They show scenes where like they're causing like car accidents, like a 10 car pile up. And then, again, things are getting thrown across town. I mean, people are dying. Like, there's no doubt about it. People are dead.
Bro, like, between the car accidents, at one point, Jimmy throws a hot dog cart at a jet and blows it up.
Yeah. Explodes.
Like, they try to save a cat. The city tries to save a cat out of a tree, ends up throwing the cat legitimately miles away.
Yeah. Yeah, like that kind of
splattered somewhere. And they're just like, okay.
Yeah. Again, it just was cartoon logic.
No, of course. But I'm saying, like...
But seeing this now through adult lenses, I'm like, they are dead. They are dead. They just killed somebody. They are dead.
Yes. Someone needs to redo this episode and just show how many times people die. I need a kill counter on the N-Men.
A kill count for Jimmy Neutron.
Bro, they murdered at least 30 people. When Jimmy is at the end of the episode, in like the desert or whatever it is,
yeah,
and he's hulked out, he's fighting 3 tanks. You only see one person that's driving a tank jump out.
Yeah.
The other 3 people are dead.
He uses one tank like a bat and swings at another tank. They're dead in there.
He legitimately goes, batter up, and then swings and smacks one of these tanks.
He does say batter up. Some poor guy inside the tank.
And mind you, in tank warfare, there's not just one person in there.
No.
There's like 4 or 5 people in there. So Jimmy's kill counter in that one scene alone, if you're just doing the numbers, let's say 4 people each tank, which is I'm assuming is low.
Sure.
I watched Fury. I know there's a couple people in the tank.
Yeah.
So let's say low end, there's 4 people in that tank. We only saw one person escape. He killed 11 people.
At least. Minimum
11 people.
It's funny because that just completely distracts from the rest of the episode. Like, we're just like, no, most people.
This was destructive.
This was bad. Although, like, it was a fun episode.
Yeah.
So the first episode that we watched, my episode, was one of like the back half of episode 2 of season 2, I believe it was. So it was like a 10-minute, 11-minute episode. But yours was like a fully fledged, like 23-minute full ass episode,
which I definitely enjoyed more.
Yeah, you can tell like they were able to flesh out a much better story. But it was also a fun story.
Yeah,
like the whole superpowers thing. Like, obviously Jimmy didn't realize his power until later on. He comes to Hulk, and then he ends up fighting the rest of the group. Them using abilities against him, which is again just like a funny play on it. So overall, that was a much better episode than the first one. It was very fun.
Yeah, I just like that episode better because it had a real story arc to it.
Yeah.
Like we had like our conflict and then what they were trying to accomplish, right? Because we were going to figure out that, okay, according to Jimmy Neutron world, your metabolism is everything. Because their metabolism again was the thing that was killing them.
Both episodes we watched today, their metabolism was going too fast and it was going to kill them by a certain point.
Yeah, by a certain time.
What are the chances though? Those are both.
I think both of them were 6 o'clock.
Yeah, one was 6 hours.
One was 6
yours
hours.
was like, they're gonna die in 6 hours. Their metabolism is going too fast. And then in my episode, it's like, they're gonna die at 6:03 p.m. So like, what are the chances that both episodes we picked, they're dying because their metabolism is going too fast?
They were like, there's no way these kids know what a metabolism is.
That's what I'm thinking too. It's like, okay, do they think kids don't know what metabolism means, so they're just gonna like lean into it?
Oh my god,
your metabolism's too fast. You're gonna die before dinner. Like,
stop doing cardio. You're dying.
Yeah. We've had this before with Fairly Odd Parents, where my episode, at least the first episode we watched, kind of brought it down. But the second episode brings it back up. So, on that note, I'm going to ask you, does it hold up?
So, I found it slightly humorous. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't believe it holds up.
I don't think
it holds up even a little bit. I think that there's too many... So the first episode being 10 minutes was too many... There's too many issues, right? They tried to accomplish too much in too short of time.
I also don't think it was that funny.
Overall, it was not that funny either. Like, it had its moments where it had very tropey, like... And I think overall, in general, too, like, episode 1 and episode 2, both very tropey.
Yeah.
Which is a kid's show thing.
Yeah.
So, overall, personally, I think I'm going to give this my lowest rating.
Ooh.
And, which is very unlike me, 4 flat.
Okay. I'm in the same vein. So, I can't argue with that, because you set a good standard when you said 5 and above is like rewatchable. I have no interest in putting this back on. I'm perfectly fine never watching this again. I just don't ruin it or anything. I'm with you I'm gonna agree with you 100% to say 4 as well.
4, damn.
I'm gonna call it 4. Normally I give things a little higher. I'm a little more lenient, but there's something about this one just did not do it for me.
Yeah, I normally go with like weird ratings with 4 point whatever. Yeah. This, I didn't think it was 3-ish.
No, 3 felt low.
3 felt low.
I almost said 4.
Even high 3s.
Yeah, I almost said 4.5. But even then, I'm just like, let me call it an even 4. Because I'm like, this did not. It's like, don't get me wrong, I gave some low scores as well, but nothing comes close to this. I don't think this holds up at all.
I think if I would have just saw the first episode though.
Oh yeah.
Law was pushed into the 3s.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. The
first episode being having some redeeming qualities, being a little longer, more of a story fleshed out, made us laugh a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm cool to 4. So if say the first episode was a 3, the second episode was a 5.
Yeah.
4 right down the middle for me.
That's fair. That makes sense. So these aren't bad shows, but we're asking the question like, does it hold up? So at the time, I do remember liking the show.
Yeah.
And I remember just like, again, laughing at it, whatever. But looking at it now, 23 years later, it does not hold up. So
based on our current chart, we clearly have a top. We have Hey Arnold that's clearly at the top, and now we have our new bottom.
Yeah.
With Jimmy Neutron, which is a flat 4, being the first time we actually agree.
Yeah, first time don't get me wrong, there'll be more later on where we definitely have closer ratings.
I think our ratings have been fairly close, but this is the first time we flat out
straight up agreed, yeah. Yeah. For the first time, we agree on something. You also did pick a weird number, which is also makes it a lot easier to do. Well, I also picked a weird number last time. But yeah, so Hey Arnold's firmly number 1, 9.5. I don't see that getting topped anytime soon, unless we do pull out something crazy or something does kind of surprise us in a way. Then you have like I think a 6.9 for Fairly Odd Parents. There's also a big gap between Harold and Fairly Odd Parents. So there's also a lot of room for some stuff in there.
Absolutely.
And then you have Courage the Cowardly Dog right above Rocket Power, also like in the 5 point something. So like they are also like kind of neck and neck. And then firmly down at the bottom,
firmly grasping.
We got Jimmy Neutron, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I think our ratings currently are accurate.
Yeah,
I don't see anything that's super out of like left field. Like, oh, this clearly is in the wrong spot. I'm sure the 14 people watching this someone will say it is. But.
Yeah, no, like thinking about it, I going into this, I definitely thought Jimmy Neutron would be a little higher.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would overtake Rocket Power, kind of based on averages, but I'm a little shocked it did not hold up as well as I thought it would.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%.
All right, well, we'll see how the next show does. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Retro Reel.
Peace.